Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Allure of the Poor, sponsored by Dracaena Wines. Today I am in another country. Well, actually I wish I was in another country. I'm still in California, but we are talking with Enrique Tirado of Concha y Toro, but he is the winemaker for Don Melchor. And I am so excited to welcome you today, Enrique. So hello.
Hello, Rory. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with you, to talk about the wine, about Don Melchor. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So before we get into the interview, previously you had asked me if I had been to Chile. I have not, but I was in Hungary with a winemaker from Chile, and all she could do was rave about how beautiful it was and everything, and it is on my bucket list. It is definitely on my bucket list. So hopefully one day we can meet in real life, not just virtually.
Yes, Chile is a fantastic place. You know, we have different regions from the north, the south, different valleys, different soil and climatic conditions. So it's a fantastic place for producing wine, for making wine. Yeah, it's a great place.
My first question to everybody that I interview is always about their origin story. So how did you fall in love with wine? When did you realize that wine was where you wanted your life, your career to be?
Yes, I was okay. In my family, always we had wine at home on the table, and I remember from many years ago the wine in the house, different wines, and then I studied agronomy at the university, in the Catholic University in Chile, and it was in the last part of the university, I did my thesis in wine, and I really discovered the passion, the art, the soul, the weather behind the wine. So I think when I was studying, I was discovering the wine.
And did you always, when you started doing that thesis, did you have in your mind that you wanted to be a winemaker? Or, I mean, as a winemaker, it's all encompassing. You have to know the viticulture, you have to know everything. But did you always want to be on that side of it as a majority, or did you fall in love first with the viticulture and then the winemaking, or the other way around?
Yes, at the beginning was the wine, because I saw in the wine the art. I love the art, the different art. So after that, I discovered that in the wine you can find a mix between the viticulture side and also the wine side. So you have a mix between the nature and the wine. So yes, at the first time the wine and then the viticulture side.
And was your very first wine job with Concha y Toro, or did you start someplace else?
Yeah, no, I start when I finished the university. My first work was in Concha y Toro. So I've been working here for many years. Today, 25 years. It was my first work here in Concha y Toro. So I started in 1993, and then I started in Don Melchor, in the Don Melchor team in 95, and in charge of Don Melchor since 1997. So yes, many years working here in Concha y Toro, and more precisely in Don Melchor.
And when you were in the university, was it more book studies, or was it more hands-on? Were you out in the vineyards?
Yes, it was a mix. It was a mix. Yes, book and also a lot of experience in the vineyard, in the fruticulture area. We share both sides. Yeah.
because I think that education, traditional education, is wonderful to being a winemaker, but I find that it's really the hands-on experience that really separates the excellent winemakers from the winemakers that kind of just stick with it. I think that if all you do is book, if you follow the book, you can't really change right? You can't adapt from vintage to vintage.
Yeah, I think both sides is important because you have to know about the winemaking process, or the viticulture management. But also, as you said, it is very important to have experience. So I remember I spent, because I did my thesis about the Cabernet Sauvignon vinification and also Cabernet Sauvignon maceration, post-alcoholic fermentation. So I spent a lot of time, 1 year, 1 year and a half, making the wine, so making the maceration, making the barrel aging. So I learned a lot in this time.
And those hands-on experiences is what allows you to go from vintage to vintage. So you had said that you first started in Concha y Toro in 1993, and now we're in vintage 2020. So what do you think are some major, or what do you think are some things that you've changed, your viewpoints that have possibly changed as you evolved as a winemaker for this many years?
Yes, I think the first 10 years, I was more concentrated in the winemaking process, in the vinification process, in the vinification side. And in the last 10, 15 years, I spent a lot of time looking the terroir, looking the soil, looking the vineyard, in order to understand what happened into the soil in Puente Alto, in the domature soil, the domature vineyard. We subdivided the vineyard in many different parcels. So yes, today I go to the vineyard, I go to the cellar, and we taste the different wine, different parcels from the mature. So today I try to share half and half between the vineyard and the vinification.
Okay. So before we actually, oh, go ahead.
So sorry. So we today we know better about the soil, about the weather, about the vineyard management. So I think we changed a lot in this side.
Now, before we actually get into Domature, can you help my listeners understand a little bit more about the major topographical elements that make Chile? Like, what are your borders, and how do those elements affect the vines that are growing within your region?
Yes, you know, in Chile, Chile is a long country, it's a thin country. So we have in Chile, we have the coastal range on the west, and that's a very important geographical element. And also, really important, the Andes mountain on the east. So we have two mountains, the coastal and the Andes. And between both the mountains, we have the different valleys, from the north to the south. So we have the Pacific Ocean influence on the west, and we have Andes influence from the east. And also we have the combination north, south, east, west. So we have different influence from the mountain. So that is very important. At the end, from the north to the south, we have different valleys with different soils, different weather conditions. So we have cooler area, warmer area. We have more stony soil or more clay soil. So I think we have a lot of different terroir at the end. for making different wines, different varieties. So yes, in Chile you can make white wines in the south, and also you can make white wines in the north, beside the sea, and also you can make red wine south or north area at the foot of the Andes, or beside the coastal range. So that's very interesting in Chile. As we have a long country, we have different climatic conditions, different soil, so you can discover many different wines from Chile.
Now they say that, the saying is that good wine is made in the vineyards. Okay, so let's talk about the soil more specifically at Don Melchor. What about the soil at the Don Melchor vineyard in the Alto Maipo, which I probably am saying incorrectly, valley? What's special about the soil?
Yeah, that's very important, as you said. Yes, the soil and the weather is very important. The soil in Puente Alto is alluvial soil, it's stony rocky soil, it's poor soil in terms of nutrients. But at the same time, we have a great complexity in the soil. So it's rocky, stony soil, it's Andean material carried down by the Maipo River. So we are located on the north bank of the Maipo River, and we have three different terraces: the first, the second, and the third, beside the Maipo River. And Don Melchor is located on the third terrace. And in this terrace we have more complexity into the soil. And if you have more complex soil, at the end you can make more complex wine. You can achieve more different layers, different aromas, different texture into the wine. So it's a fantastic soil for producing Cabernet Sauvignon base. So as I said, rocky, stony soil, poor soil, fantastic drainage, and at the same time, as I said, different elements into the soil. It's not just a stone or sand. We have stone, sand, clay, different nutrients, different minerals. So that condition allowed us to make a wine with fantastic complexity.
And on that third terrace, are the vines, are they steep once you get to that terrace? Like, is the entire terracing section steep, or is it like a flat terrace and then there's steepness and then the next flat?
Yes, we have the first, the second, and the third. Each terrace is almost flat. We have 2%, so it's almost flat, but we have some difference into the soil. It's the same soil origin, but we have some difference in the Don Melchor vineyard. We subdivided the vineyard according to the soil, because we have, as I said, we have more or less clay, more or less stone, bigger or smaller. So we subdivided the vineyard according to the vineyard expression, and the most important, according to the wine expression.
And then what altitude are you at on the Don Melchor vineyard?
We are 650 meters above sea level, so it's about 2,000 feet above sea level.
Okay, wonderful. And then I can see the map in the back, so that is the terrace, that's the Don Melchor. Okay, and so I can see parcels or blocks going on. Why have you designated specific blocks? I can see outlines of them.
Yes, that is very important. As you can see, we have 127 hectares, and we subdivided the vineyard in 151 different parcels, so less than 1 hectare.
Wow.
In the vineyard, we have 90% Cabernet Sauvignon, 7.1% Cabernet Franc, and then small parcel Merlot and Petit Verdot. So basically we have 90% Cabernet Sauvignon, but yes, we start divided the vineyard in many different parcels according to the soil, the vineyard, and according to the wine expression. And that's very important because each parcel adds different aromas, different flavors, different texture to the final blend. So when we make the blend, on the table we have 100, 150, 160 different wines. All of them come from the mature vineyard, but we use the different Cabernet Sauvignon expression in the final blend. So that's fantastic. I think the complexity, the expression, the different aromas, layers behind the mature come from these different parcels.
So within a parcel, is everything hand harvested?
I'm sorry? It is
hand harvested?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, we pick by hand 100%. We pick in April. We start mid-March and we finish end of April, beginning of May, according to the climatic condition, 2 weeks earlier or later. Yes, we pick 100% by hand, and we put the grapes into 10-kilo crates. And after that, we have at the cellar we have selection, branches selection, and also barrel selection.
Okay. And when you're picking your fruit within these parcels, are you selecting how many passes? Are you picking an entire parcel at the same time, or are you potentially taking several passes within a single parcel?
Yeah, and in average we pick one parcel to 3 parcels each day, and yes, we can pick all the parcels because they are small. It's less than 1 hectare, so we pick one parcel in half a day. But you're right. According to the maturity, yes, we can pick one day a whole parcel, or what we can pick half according to the maturity.
There we go. Okay, we're back.
Yes. Hello. I don't know what happened.
Technology, whatever. I'll just get edited out. Not a problem. So we were just talking about the parcels and hand selecting within different, depending on actual thing. When I'm walking the vineyards with some of our customers, I try to explain that everything is a microclimate. So you can't just, one end of the vine, it can be maturing very differently than the middle of the vine. And in reality, bunches can be very different than the bunch that's 2 feet away from them. So that's what I was asking about the passes.
Yes.
Okay, now, one of the coolest things that I think is that Chile is like the only country that has not been affected by phylloxera, right?
Yes.
And we're going to knock on wood, but
yes, you're right.
So your vines are actually dated pre-19th century from Bordeaux, so they're on their own rootstock. Is that correct?
Yes, in the vineyard the vineyard was planted 1 year ago. We are renovating, we are replanted the vineyard, and today the vineyard is around 40 years old, 35, 40 years old. But you're right, the old vineyard we didn't use a rootstock. So, and in the new vineyard, in the new parcel that we have a new plantation. Sometimes we use rootstock, sometimes we don't use rootstock. The idea is to try to achieve the better connection between the vine and the soil. But after some years, I think in the future we are going to plant probably mostly without rootstock.
Okay. And then,
But the old vineyard, yes, we don't have rootstock. Yes.
that I think that is pretty cool. Like all of these countries, we've all had issues with phylloxera, and Chile hasn't. Do they know why you guys have been able to dodge the bullet?
I think we have some natural boundaries. You know, the Pacific Ocean, on the west, the Pacific Ocean, on the east, the Andes Mountain, on the north, we have the Atacama Desert. You know, it's the bigger desert on the world. On the south, we have the Patagonia area. So we have natural boundaries. So we are isolated from the other countries. And also we have some irrigation system, the soil. So yes. Fortunately, we don't have the phylloxera here. And also we have a great control when you try to enter some external material. You must. We have a very strong control on that.
Oh, okay. So when you're bringing in new vines, they have to go into quarantine.
Absolutely, yes. Quarantine at least 2 years, in a normal situation 5 years. So yeah, it's not you cannot bring some material from the Europe or North America or everywhere.
Okay. So are the vines that you're purchasing to replant, they're coming from within Chile?
Yes, mainly from Chile. Yeah, we can import some material, some new varieties, new clone, new selections, but we have a very strong process in order to assure that we don't have any problem with phylloxera or another problem in the vineyard.
And the winemaker that I was speaking to when I was in Hungary, she was saying that Chile really doesn't have any natural type pests. Like you don't have the nematodes.
Yes, we have.
Oh, you do have nematodes.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have some. Yes, we have. But we must manage in order to have a good condition in the soil or vineyard. So we have to manage that.
Okay.
So we can use rootstock, or if you want, you don't use rootstock. But it depends on in my opinion, the main goal in the mature vineyard is try to achieve the best balance, the best relationship between the vine and the soil. So in that situation, we can use rootstock, but now in the new parcel, we are planting without rootstock. So in the mature, 80% of the vineyard is the old vineyard, and 20% we planted since 2004. And in this new vineyard, sometimes we use rootstock, sometimes we don't use rootstock. And that's very important. We have a mature master selection. So in the new vineyard that we are planting, we use our own master selection, our own mature selection.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are coming from the 19th century?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, from the old vineyard. We went to the vineyard 15 years ago in order to take the best vine, and we selected the best vine from the vineyard. But I like the diversity, biodiversity. So I try to start from the vineyard with a lot of diversity, biodiversity.
And now you had mentioned that it is, mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, but you also have small amounts of other grapes, Merlot, Cabernet Franc. Are those mostly intended just for blending, or does they go into maybe a Concha y Toro's level of single varietal?
Yes, the mature comes from this vineyard, from the mature vineyard, and we make the mature blend with the different parcels, so we can use in the final blend Cabernet Sauvignon, of course, mainly Cabernet Sauvignon. We use 90%, 95% Cabernet Sauvignon in the final blend, and we added Merlot, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc to the final blend in order to improve the Dom Mature expression. So it's a single vineyard, and we use the best wine in Dom Mature. And yes, the wine that we don't use in Dom Mature, we can use in our second line, third line. So yeah, but we create the vineyard Dom Mature the last year, so it's a Dom Mature winery. So one wine, one vineyard behind this wine.
And now it seems like, the terms organic, biodynamic, sustainable, these are all, the hot topics and all of that. Does Dom Mature follow these, or any of them?
Yes, we use the best from the different management. We use the best from the traditional, because in the traditional side you have a lot of many different management, and so we use the best from the traditional. We use some organic and some for biodynamic management. So we mix in our own Dom Mature vineyard management. So, but
to make the best wine.
Yeah, we are very concerned about the life into the soil, the life into the vineyard, as I said, the biodiversity into the vineyard.
And so I read that Dom Mature is actually Chile's most award-winning wine on a global scale. So, wow, that's a hell of a congratulations there.
Thank you.
And now, first of all, I have to show this box, because this is how the wine came, and I absolutely love the box. And the box is going up on the little wine trophy case. But we are drinking today the 30th anniversary Dom Mature.
Yes, I have this vintage 2017. Yes.
And the color is incredible. It is so deep. It's beautiful purple. It's all the way to the rim. It's magnificent. And I cheated. I had some before. The aromas, they're beautiful. It's a very dark fruit, and it's got a little floral essence to it, and I'm getting a little leather, but not dried leather, if that makes sense to you. But it's a beautiful wine. And my question is, before I want to hear what you get out of the wine, is from vintage to vintage, do you have, like if I had last year's vintage, are you trying to make the same wine vintage to vintage, or are you truly just letting Mother Nature take over and that's what we get in the glass?
You know, my philosophy is to make a wine that really expresses its origin. So, in my point of view, it's very important to respect the natural expression from the vineyard, from the soil, the weather, and the Cabernet Sauvignon in that case, basically the Cabernet Sauvignon, the parcel concept. So, I try to respect its natural expression from the vineyard to the wine. So when we make the blend, in some way we are free. Every year we are free. We try to restart every year in order to create every year a new Domateur. So it's true. If you taste from the beginning, from the first Domateur 1987 to today, the 17th, you are going to feel the Domateur, you are going to taste, you are going to feel the Domateur personality, the Domateur character. But we're free in order to create the best, that's very important, the best Domateur every year, but a wine that really express its soil, weather, the parcel concept. That's my philosophy. I want that really express its terroir.
So knowing that this was your 30th anniversary in 2017 when you were harvesting this, like were you like, oh my gosh, this needs to be like a major vintage here? You know, like, so did you attack that vintage exactly the same way as you always do, like in terms of vine maintenance and fermentation? Was it just another vintage to you, or was it a little bit more stressful because it was this major anniversary?
No, no. With the 17, about the 17, yeah, the 17 was a fantastic year. First of all, was a fantastic year in terms of weather, in terms of climatic condition. So it was slightly warm, but at the beginning of the season, and the last 2 months, it was cooler, very close to normal, cold night. So that situation allowed us to keep the fruit character, the red fruit character, and so first of all, it was a fantastic year, mainly for Cabernet Sauvignon. For that reason, in 17 we have 98% Cabernet Sauvignon, 2% Cabernet Franc. We only had 2% Cabernet Franc, and the wine shows, as you said, a lot of red character, red fruit character, and also you can taste this kind of mineral character, like a graphite, like a ash, cold ash. Yeah, I love it. The expression.
There, the minerality on it is beautiful. It's got. I wouldn't have said ash, but now that you've said that, like I get that. But it's graphite, like pencil, like
yes,
shape.
Perfect. You totally agree with you.
It is.
And on the palate, it has a soft attack, nice attack, the first impression. But after that, you can taste the energy, the density, the expression, and with a long finish. And at the end, again, you can taste this kind of mineral, like an ash, like a graphite notes, and also the red fruit character. So,
No.
it is in my opinion, it's a fantastic vintage. I think 17 is a complete wine. A lot of material in this wine.
So the tannins are so approachable. They're beautiful. A lot of Cabernet Sauvignons, at least in my world here, are bold, big, in your face. The tannins are what you get, right? And then the fruit is kind of a second effect after you've gotten through those tannins. And the tannins are there for the structure. The tannin is there to provide a complex wine that I think can age. But the fruit is what gets you first. And that's a beautiful change from where I'm from.
Absolutely, yes. We are very concerned about that. When we make the blend, we are very concerned about the quality of the tannins. So we have a selection. We use the best wine. We taste all of this wine that comes from the mature vineyard. We have selection. We use in the final blend. We use 60%, 70%. And as I said, we are very concerned about that, about the quality of the tannins. We try to achieve both sides, the expression, the energy, but at the same time, the finesse, the balance, delicate tannins. That's very important. So because that's very important when we talk about the architecture, the tannin architecture, because when we make the blend, that's very important because we must create a wine that has a good aging potential, but at the same time you can drink in 3, 4, 5 years. But the mature has amazing aging potential. We can save the wine for 30, 40 years or more. We'll see.
So this is a 2017 vintage. Was this just released in 2020?
We 19 and 2020. It's 19 and 2020. Yes, they're both. Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of this year, beginning of next year, we are going to launch the 18.
Okay.
So 17 is, yes, right now it's on the market.
Okay. And what is your winemaking protocol for the Cabernet? French oak, new, old? Is it a combination of both?
Yes, we use 100% French oak, average 70% new, 30% one year, and with barrel aging takes about 14, 15 months. So, and after that we bottle the wine.
Okay. And then in terms of fermentation, are you using commercial yeast or indigenous yeast? Wild yeast, I should say.
we use both. We use commercial yeast, but also we try with some tank in order to use wild yeast. But we are starting with that combination in terms of unification.
Okay, wonderful. And now, I have to say that I have to make it to Chile, or you have to get to California, because, as I said, this is going on the trophy case, but it's not signed, so I need to get it signed.
Yes, absolutely. I have to go to California. I must go.
Yes.
Absolutely. I like California also, so don't worry. I will be there next year.
All right. Well, I would love to show you around Paso Robles.
Great. Yes.
I will give you a personalized private tour of my favorite place.
Yes, I live in in Santa Barbara many years ago, 4 months. I went to Santa Barbara with all my family. I visited Paso Robles, so I love this area.
And so were you there for pleasure for 4 months? Like, what brought you to Santa Barbara?
I went to Santa Barbara in order to learn English. So I need to come back. Absolutely. Because the English is not good. So I
think it's fantastic.
No, I must come back. Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. So your English is atrocious. You must come back to better your English. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I read or I heard somewhere that you actually, when it comes time for your blending, you are actually you go to Bordeaux, right? And you travel to Bordeaux with the Boissinat family, a consultant?
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes. Yes, since the beginning, since the first documentary in 1987, we had French consultant working on family. You know, they work in Bordeaux area. They work with 250 different chateaux in Medoc area. They work with the famous chateau in Bordeaux, like Chateau La Tour, Margaux, Mouton, Lafitte. They've been working with us since the beginning. Mainly when we make the blend. Always it's better to have an external view. I think it's better we can make I think the best documentary every year. And yes, at the beginning, Monsieur Boissonneau came here to Chile, and we made the blend here in Puente Alto. But since 1999, I go to Bordeaux. So I send all the samples, 300 bottles. So we taste there. We taste, usually we taste the last week of July. Okay. So we spend 1 week tasting, making the documentary blend.
Yeah. I was going to say that must be like the most interesting luggage, because if you have 151 parcels, and I'm sure you're breaking those parcels up once you're there into different barrels. So you've got to multiply that out, and you're sending out all these, traveling with all of these, 300 plus bottles. That must be.
Yes. It's a fantastic week. I love it this week because we create a new documentary. So I really, in my opinion, it's probably the best week because we spend a lot of time looking the best documentary, tasting the different parcels. What happened this particular year? Every year is different, and at the end we create a new documentary.
So that's the art aspect of it. There's so much science to winemaking, but that's where that art aspect comes in. You get to play.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Now, let's talk about the 2020 vintage. What's going on with that? How was the season?
Yeah, it was a really unique vintage because we have a different weather, and also at the same time we have the COVID situation, so it was complicated. But when I remember end of February, beginning of March, I went to the vineyard and we take the grape, and I remember I taste the grape and I thought, oh, the berries, the taste, the grape is almost ready. We can pick in 1 week, in 10 days. So I was worried about that situation because in a normal year we pick the grape April, so it was beginning of March, so 1 month early. So I was worried, but after the harvest, I can say I think it was the best situation. This earliness, because we had a earliness, natural earliness, 3-4 weeks, but that situation allowed us to pick all the grapes. It's true, yes, we pick in March. We start at the beginning of March and we finish at the beginning of April. So, but as I said, thanks this situation, thanks this climatic condition, we pick all the grapes. So I call the nobility of the terroir. I think it was the nobility of the terroir. If in 100 years we need this situation, this kind of earliness, this kind of precocity, it is a year. So it was a year, absolutely. So finally we have a fantastic 2020. We made the blend at the end of July. Okay, the blend was different because I didn't go to Bordeaux. So we taste like now with you by video assemblage. So we make a video assemblage here, but at the end the wine is fantastic. So we are so happy with that.
Picking that much earlier, was it? I'm guessing that meant it was a warmer season than in the past.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Because it was a warmer season. It was warmer from the beginning, from springtime to summertime. So all the season we had higher temperature than normal. So that situation allowed us to peak earlier than normal. 3 weeks average earlier than normal.
Okay. Well, I think that's a lot better situation than having the heat spikes. You know, where we have 117 degrees for 2 days and then drops down to 40 degrees. You know, that at least if it's consistent, you're on the ball of doing it. Where our 117s give us that false reading.
Yes, in Puente Alto, in the mature vineyard in Puente Alto, we have the Andes influence. So I think in this place, in this vineyard, the weather is moderate by the Andes. But in this year, yes, the temperature was higher than normal. But at the end, again, it was the best. In a normal year, if we had to pick in April, it was probably. It is a really complicated situation with the pandemic, with the COVID situation.
Right.
It's not easy. Yes.
Right. Now, when you're choosing what time you're going to harvest, you said you tasted it and you're like, okay, we're ready. That's your final thing, is your actual palate. Because I'm sure prior to that you were getting lab samples of where the sugars were and the acids. But is it really your palate that makes that final decision?
Yes, absolutely. It is. Yes. We have the analysis. As I said, the sugar, the acidity, the pH, the final compounds. But at the end, that is fantastic because if you taste green character, when you taste the berries, if you taste green character, it's the same that you are going to taste in the wine. If you taste bitter or if you taste delicate tannins, if you taste mature tannins, if you taste red fruit character, you are going to taste the same in the final wine. So that is very important. I try to taste at the end. I taste almost all the parcel. I go to the vineyard almost every morning in order to taste the grapes because that's very important.
Yeah. Okay. So my last couple of questions just deal with letting people know about Don Mature. So I know due to the pandemic, things are all different, and you're currently not doing tastings. Is that correct? Because, well, nobody can travel, but in a normal situation, you do have tastings at Don Mature, and they can come in and visit, and the gardens are supposedly amazing.
I'm sorry?
I was saying that
Yes.
on a normal, forget pandemic, normally
Yes.
people can come and visit and they get guided tours of the beautiful garden.
Yes, in a normal year. Yes, this year we don't have any visitor. We are closed. But in a normal situation, we have a dormitory experience. You can visit the dormitory house, the dormitory vineyard, and you can taste the different sun parcels also. You can make the dormitory blend. So we have a fantastic experience here in the dormitory house. So please, yes, I think next year, please visit us. We are so proud to receive all of you.
And they can find Don Mature on the social medias. They have their own title, or is it Concha y Toro?
Both. We have a dormitory web, and also so you can find the dormitory web on internet, and also in Concha y Toro media you can find it. So it's yes, because we have experience, but we have by appointment.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me and to share your knowledge and experience. And I raise a glass to you. So I always say slancha. I don't know how you say cheers. However.
Salud. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. See you next time. And thank you for this. It was fantastic to talk about Don Mature. Thank you so much.
It was wonderful learning about it. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.